Does this happen to you when you give any GMAT mock or you're practicing few questions, and after the mock or after the practice, let's say you get around 60 to 70% accuracy, and the question that you got wrong, you say that, oh, I know all of them, or maybe you got 6 questions wrong, and you know that I know 5 of them. One is something I would have faced difficulty. This is a problem with every student who is preparing for GMAT Quant, and they have practiced a lot. Okay, they are aware of everything, they have the knowledge, they have the practice, but still all this practice they are not able to get these questions right. They are at around 60-70% accuracy. They're not getting to the 90% or 100% accuracy. And with GMAT focus, the penalty of getting one question wrong is really high. So you cannot afford to get this question wrong. Now there are few things that most of the students try. So whenever they are not getting the 100% accuracy or high accuracy, first they just start practicing more questions, or they keep revising the concepts. And there are some students, they're aware that we know everything, so they start just rechecking their solutions. So they solve the question and they start rechecking it, have they done it properly. If they do that, it takes a lot of time, and so they in the mock they end up missing some questions. So they just have to mark few questions in the last because they don't have time. This is what happened with one of my students. He scored 615 in a mock test. So in quant he was getting around, I think it was 82 percentile, and he got around 6 to 7 questions wrong. So when we were discussing all those questions, so he said that, oh, I know this question. For example, there was this one question, I don't remember the exact wording. So there was some quantity X, and then they said that 0.125% of X are women and 1/7 of the remaining are men. How many children are there? So in this case, he read it correctly that it was 0.125% are women, but then he said 1/7 of total are men rather than of remaining. He got this question wrong because of just not reading the question properly. Then there was this another question on prime numbers, that there was this variable x which was like, it says it's a sum of first 404 prime numbers. So x is even or odd. So in this case, he forgot that 2 is the only even number, even prime number, rest all are odd, and he ended up getting a wrong answer just because he forgot about 2. Now, how can you get over with these mistakes? One way, and I think that's the only way out, that you start focusing more on the question rather than spending time in solving the question. Because if you could see that in the first case, when he said that 1/7 of the remaining are men, he forgot, he has not read the question properly. Because he's in such a rush to get over with this that he got this question wrong. So if you want to improve this, start investing more time in reading the question. So let's say we have 2 minutes. I would suggest spend around 1 to 1.5 minutes in reading the question. So read the question, ask what this question is asking. Normally what happens, let's say the question is asking for x, but to find x, you have to find y. So what happens, we keep focusing on x rather than on y. This happens because we don't spend enough time in thinking what we have to find. We are more interested in, just start solving the question. Similarly, when you're reading the question, remember that GMAT plays around with the language, GMAT plays around with the exceptions. And there are very limited exceptions. For example, in case of prime numbers, 2 is the only even prime number, rest all are odd. You just need to remember this. So what happens is, when you read the question, read it once and then ask, what do I have to find? Secondly, ask, is there any exception to this? I'm not using, I'm not solving this till I'm not clear what do I have to find. So how can you improve that? You can just take official guide questions, because in GMAT you don't get difficult questions. So stop going for those difficult questions, because you will see that you're making mistakes in very simple basic level questions. Okay, so don't put your, don't think, oh, I have to practice some difficult level questions. So practice basic level questions, medium level questions, which are there in official guide. So read the question, give yourself some time to think, okay, what do I have to find? Are there any exceptions that I need to take care of? Once you're clear, then you ask, how should I solve this question? Should I use substitution? Should I use equation? Or should I work with options? follow this process. Again, I repeat the process. Read the question, ask what you have to find. Okay, what they are asking is not what you have to find. Again, I'm taking an example that if they're asking what is x, to find x you have to find y. So focus on y, not on x. Along that thing, are there any exception here? Like for example, if it's even, let's say x is an even integer, so don't forget about 0. If there is a square, square is always positive, but exception is 0. So be careful, are there any exceptions to that? Then ask yourself, how should I solve it? Should I put in values here, or should I use some formula, or should I solve some equation, or should I work with options? So have this thought process before you actually start solving it. And if you just do this and you follow this process, you have to master this process. These are the steps that I have to take care of. So you will see that in the exam, you'll not be making these silly mistakes. Secondly, there's something called, your mind goes blank. So once your mind is going blank, because you don't have the specific steps. So if you master these steps, you will not be facing any problem of, blanking out or going blank during the exam. See this and see if it helps you to improve your quant score. Thank you.